honest with me for a second. You're having a conversation in English, and someone says something you completely disagree with. Do you just stay quiet? Or do you risk sounding rude? It's one of the most uncomfortable moments for any English learner, isn't it?
Aha. Oh, absolutely. I think we've all been there. You're nodding along, but inside you're screaming, "No, that's not right!" And you just don't know how to say it without damaging the relationship.
Exactly, and that's the whole reason for today's episode. We're going to show you how native speakers disagree without ever sounding rude. You'll learn the simple formulas, the exact phrases, and the secret that makes all the difference. It's not what you say, it's how you package it.
You're listening to Simple English Talks, by the way. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an episode that can truly level up your real-life English.
By the end of today, you'll be able to politely disagree in any situation. At work, with friends, with strangers. You'll sound more natural, and you won't feel scared to share your opinion.
But before we jump in, we want to hear from you. Have you ever had a moment where you wanted to disagree in English, but you just bit your tongue? Tell us about it in the comments. We read every single one.
Yes, please share. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave a like to support the channel. So, Smith, let's get straight to it. What's the first thing learners need to understand about disagreeing politely?
Great question. It all starts with one simple formula. I call it the soft start formula. Before you drop your different opinion, you first acknowledge the other person. You show that you heard them, and you respect their view. That's the magic.
So instead of jumping straight to, "I disagree," you build a little cushion first. That cushion can be really short. For example, "That's an interesting point, but I see it differently." The phrase, "That's an interesting point," is the softener. It tells the other person, "I'm listening, I'm not attacking you."
Right. Another great softener is, "I see what you mean." If someone says the new restaurant is the best in town, and you disagree, you can say, "I see what you mean, but I actually preferred the place next door." Do you hear how that little phrase changes everything?
It really does. Without it, saying, "But I preferred the place next door," sounds a bit cold. The formula is so simple. Acknowledgement plus but plus your view. That's it. That's the core structure.
And native speakers use this all the time without even thinking. Let me give you 3 solid examples. First, "That's a good point, but I think we should look at the other option too." Second, "I hear you, but I'm not sure I agree with the timeline." Third, "Fair enough, but what about the cost?" Do you notice how each one starts with a mini acknowledgement?
Haha, I love that last one. Fair enough. It's so casual and friendly. I use it with my friends all the time. Like, fair enough, but I still think the movie was too long. It's like saying, "Okay, I accept your view, but here's mine." Quick, natural, zero rudeness.
Totally. Now, I want you listening right now to try this with me out loud. Imagine I say, "English is the easiest language to learn." What could you say using the acknowledgement plus but formula? Say it now, out loud. Pause if you need to, but really say it.
Maybe you said something like, "That's an interesting thought, but I find the spelling really difficult." Or, "I see why you'd say that, but the grammar can be tricky." Both work beautifully. You see how you're not saying you're wrong. You're just sharing a different perspective.
That's the secret. Disagreeing politely is really about shifting from "you're wrong" to "here's another way to look at it." It's a subtle mind shift that changes your tone completely.
Now let's quickly cover the negative form. What if you want to say you don't share the opinion without even using but? You can use "I'm not sure about that," or "I don't think so." For instance, "I'm not sure that's true. I read a different article about it."
Yes, "I'm not sure about that" is a brilliant softening phrase. It doesn't accuse anyone, it just expresses personal doubt. So you have 2 great formulas already. Acknowledgement plus but, and "I'm not sure about that." Ask yourself, can you think of a situation this week where you used or could have used these? Write it in the comments. We'll give you a thumbs up.
So, Quick summary of this section. Disagreeing politely starts with a soft start. You acknowledge, then you share your view. You use phrases like, "That's a good point," but, "I see what you mean, however," and, "I'm not sure about that." Keep practicing those.
Awesome. Now let's build on that. Because the way you disagree also depends on who you're talking to. A friend? Your boss? A stranger on the internet? The phrases change, and we're going to show you exactly how.
Yes, and this is where it gets really interesting. Because if you use the same softener with your best friend that you use with a client, you might actually sound a bit awkward. So let's talk about casual versus formal disagreeing.
Think about it. If you're having coffee with a close friend and they say the new cafe is amazing, you could simply laugh and say, "No way, I thought the coffee was terrible." That's completely fine, because you have that close relationship. The informality and the strong word terrible are okay there.
But if you said that exact thing to a colleague in a meeting, you'd look really unprofessional. Instead, you'd go for something like, "I'm afraid I had a different experience. I found the coffee a little bitter." Notice, "I'm afraid," that's a formal softener. It doesn't mean you're scared. It means, "I'm sorry to say this, but..."
Exactly. So let's break it into 3 levels. Level 1, casual, for friends and family. Phrases like, "No way," "Come on," "Seriously," followed by, "I thought it was." Level 2, neutral polite, for acquaintances and everyday situations. "Actually, I thought," or "I'm not sure about that." Level 3, formal, for work, emails, strangers. "I'm afraid I disagree. I see your point. However, I would argue that."
Let's do a quick dialogue demonstration, just you and me. Imagine we're colleagues. I'll say, "I think we should launch the product in September." Smith, you disagree respectfully.
Okay, Anna, I see the logic there. However, I'd suggest looking at October. September is already crowded with competitor launches. See, I used "I see the logic" there as the cushion, then "however," and "I'd suggest." Very soft, very professional.
Perfect. Now if we were friends and I said, "This is the best pizza in the city," you could say,
Haha, I gotta disagree. I think the place on Elm Street is way better. Their crust is amazing. The tone is completely different. Gotta disagree is casual, direct, but still among friends. It's not rude.
So the context decides the words. A fantastic phrase for everyday use that sits right in the middle is, "I get that, but..." For example, "I get that you want to leave early, but we really need to finish this report." "I get that" shows total understanding, and then you state your need. It's polite yet firm.
Oh, I love "I get that." Another great one is, "I understand where you're coming from, but..." This is slightly more empathetic. It's like saying, "I truly understand your perspective." You can use it in a serious discussion with your partner. "I understand where you're coming from, but I felt hurt when that happened." It keeps the conversation safe.
All right, let's do a quick practice. I'll give you a statement, and I want you, out loud, to disagree first casually with a friend, then politely with a stranger. The statement: action movies are the only movies worth watching in a theater. First, disagree like you're talking to a close friend. Go.
Say it loud. Maybe you said, "What? No way. I love watching dramas on the big screen. The emotion hits different. Nice." Now disagree with the same idea, but to someone you just met at a party. What do you say?
Pause and think. You might say, "That's an interesting perspective." Personally, I find I get a lot out of dramatic films in a theater. The intimacy is really special. So same core disagreement, totally different wrapping. Write your 2 versions in the comments. We're really curious to see how creative you get.
First, choose the right level of formality. Second, always add that little cushion. Third, remember that tone of voice is everything. You can say the politest words with a sarcastic tone, and it becomes rude instantly. So always be genuine.
You've already got a great toolkit. Now what if you want to disagree even more softly? What if you don't even want to state a direct opposite opinion? This is where questions and special magic words come in. And that's next.
This is a game changer. Instead of saying, that won't work, you can ask a question that gently leads the other person to consider your point of view. This is how native speakers often disagree without the other person even realizing it's a disagreement.
Yes, question-based disagreeing. For example, if someone says, let's go to the beach tomorrow, and you think it'll rain, you could say, don't you think it might rain? I heard the forecast was bad. The question, don't you think it might rain, plants the seed of doubt. It's so much softer than, no, it's going to rain.
Exactly. Other powerful questions are, have you considered, what about, and could it be that? Let's see them in action. Your friend says, let's take the train. You think the bus is faster. You say, have you considered the bus? It's direct, and usually quicker.
Oh, that's so smooth. Or in a business context, someone says, we should cut the marketing budget. You say, what about the impact on the new product launch? Could it be that we'd lose visibility? You're not saying you're wrong, you're just inviting them to look at a different angle. It's extremely effective and maintains a really positive atmosphere.
Another tool is softening your statement with words like just, might, maybe, and a bit. Compare, I think that's a mistake, with, I just think that might be a bit of a mistake. The second one is like a pillow, it's so much gentler.
Right. I just think, and I might be wrong, but, are golden. I might be wrong, but I don't recall seeing that in the report. That phrase, I might be wrong, does something magical. It shows humility. Even if you're 100% sure, it makes the other person open up, instead of getting defensive.
Let's practice turning a direct disagreement into a soft question. I'll say a direct statement, you make it a question. Direct. This design is too complicated. Make it a soft question. Say it out loud.
You might ask, do you think the design is a bit complicated? Or, what if we simplify the design a little? Notice how the hostility disappears. It's now a collaborative discussion, not a battle.
Now here's a tip for sounding really natural. Use actually to gently correct or disagree. But you have to be careful with the tone. Actually, I think you'll find it's on the left, not the right. If said with a friendly smile, it's helpful. If said sharply, it can sound snobby. So always pair actually with a warm tone.
A great point. And then there's, to be honest, which works wonders. To be honest, I wasn't very impressed with the film. It's like you're confiding in them. But remember, these are for expressing a personal feeling, not a fact. Don't say, to be honest, the earth is round. Use it for opinions.
Let's do a mini practice right now. I'll say an opinion, and I want you to disagree out loud using either a question or, I might be wrong, but. Here we go. Reality TV is the best form of entertainment. Go ahead, speak.
Maybe you said, I might be wrong, but isn't reality TV a bit scripted? Or, have you ever watched a really good documentary? They can be just as entertaining. Well done. This is real fluid English. Don't forget to write your own example in the comments using what about and challenge someone else.
So the key takeaway here, soften your disagreement by turning it into a curious question and use humble phrases like, I might be wrong to invite conversation, not conflict. Now let's look at the things you should definitely avoid, because we've all made these mistakes.
Oh, I've made some absolute howlers. I remember once, in my first job, my boss said something about a project, and I blurted out, that's completely wrong. The room just froze. My boss was really gracious, but I learned instantly that those two words can be relationship killers. Don't do what I did.
We've all been there. So let's go through 3 common mistakes and how to fix them. Mistake number 1, starting with you're wrong or that's wrong. It's not that it's grammatically incorrect, it's that it's a direct personal attack on their intelligence. It shuts down all communication.
The fix, remove you and focus on the idea. Instead of, you're wrong about the cost, say, I think the cost figure might be different. I have it as $50, not 30. See the shift from, you are wrong, to, the figure might be different? It depersonalizes the whole thing.
Mistake number 2, using absolute words like always, never, and completely. Saying you never listen to my ideas is a surefire way to start an argument. It's not a disagreement anymore, it's an accusation. Even if it feels true, it's rarely accurate, and it makes people defensive.
So instead of, you always forget the deadline, say, I've noticed the last couple of deadlines were tight. Can we look at the timeline together? It's specific, it's recent, and it's collaborative. And if you're disagreeing, replace, that's completely false, with, I'm not sure that's entirely accurate. It's a small word change with a huge impact.
Mistake number 3, not giving any reason, just saying, I don't like it, or I disagree, without a because. In English, giving a reason shows respect. It turns a dead end into a conversation. Don't say, I don't think that's a good restaurant. Say, I don't think that's a good restaurant because I found the service really slow when I went.
That's so important. Because is a magic word for politeness. Let me give you a funny example of a mistake I heard. Someone wanted to say they didn't enjoy a party, and they said, your party was boring. Haha, oh my goodness. The better version? Thanks for inviting me. It was a lovely evening. Though I have to say, the music was a little quiet for dancing. It's still a criticism, but wrapped in kindness and gratitude.
Great save. So now let's check if you can catch the mistakes. I'll say a sentence, and you correct it. You're wrong. The meeting is at 3. What would you say instead?
Out loud, now. Hopefully something like, actually I think the meeting is at 3. I have the email here. Nice. Next one. This food is terrible. Fix it.
You might say, I'm not really enjoying this dish. It's a bit too salty for my taste. Much better. Remember, making mistakes is how you learn. Even native speakers mess this up when they're emotional. The goal is progress, not perfection.
So, remember the big 3 to avoid. No, you're wrong. No harsh absolute words like always. And always give a reason. Keep these in mind, and you're already ahead of 90% of people. Now, Smith, let's put everything together with a fun interactive practice.
Yes, let's do it. This is our choose the correct sentence game. I'll describe a situation and give you 2 options, A or B. You choose the one that sounds more polite and natural. Ready? Situation 1. A colleague says, we should use this image for the campaign. You think it's too dark. Option A. This image is too dark, we can't use it. Option B. I like the concept, but I'm wondering if the image is a little too dark for our brand. Which is better?
Definitely B. It acknowledges the concept first, uses a little, and softens with, I'm wondering if, sounds like an order. B sounds like a collaborative discussion. Say B out loud now.
Perfect. Situation 2. A friend says, let's watch an action movie. You hate action movies. Option A. Ugh, I hate action movies. They're so stupid. Option B. I'm not really in the mood for action tonight. Could we maybe watch a comedy instead? Over to you.
B. All day long. Option A is judgmental. Option B keeps it about your personal mood and uses maybe and instead to offer an alternative. It's gentle and keeps the friendship stress-free. Try saying it with a smile in your voice.
Situation 3. Your manager proposes a plan you think is risky. Option A. I'm afraid that plan might carry some risks. Have we thought about the budget implications? Option B. No, that's a risky plan.
Oh, A is the clear winner. It's formal enough, uses I'm afraid, softens with might, and ends with a question. Option B shuts down the conversation instantly. Always use questions to open a dialogue, especially with a manager.
Last one. Someone says a historical fact that you know is incorrect. Option A. You're wrong. It happened in 1992, not 1991. Option B. Actually, I think you'll find it was 1992. I remember reading about it recently. Which one?
B. It uses actually, followed by I think you'll find, which sounds more like you're sharing information than proving someone wrong. A blunt, you're wrong, will only embarrass the other person. Option B preserves their dignity while correcting the fact.
Fantastic work, everyone. Now here's your final challenge. Go into the comments and write a disagreement you might have at work, using I see your point, however, and one with a friend using I get that, but. We want to see a flood of polite disagreements down there.
Yes, and read other people's comments and give them a heart. It's a great way to learn. The whole point is not to be perfect, but to keep the conversation alive. Real conversation is full of different opinions. The skill is expressing them with kindness and confidence.
That's so well said. So let's wrap up what we've learned today. We covered 3 main ways to disagree without sounding rude. 1. Use the soft start formula. Acknowledge plus but plus your view. Phrases like, that's a good point, but, and, I see what you mean, however.
2. We looked at matching your language to the situation. Casual with friends, no way. Formal at work, I'm afraid I have a different perspective. And the neutral everyday magic phrase, I get that, but.
3. We learned to soften things even more with questions and humble words. Have you considered, what about, and the incredible, I might be wrong, but, these invite conversation, not conflict.
And we talked about the mistakes to avoid, ditching you're wrong, skipping absolutes like always, and always explaining because. You have everything you need now to share your real opinions and still be the kind of person everyone wants to talk to.
So here's a question for you to reflect on. Think back to a recent conversation where you agreed just to be polite, but secretly you disagreed. If you could redo that conversation using today's tools, what would you say? Share that in the comments.
That's a powerful exercise. We love reading your stories. Please remember to hit like, share this episode with a friend who's learning English, and subscribe to Simple English Talks. Your support means the world and helps us make more episodes like this.
You are doing an amazing job. Every time you practice, you're getting closer to the confident English speaker you want to be. Disagree with respect, speak your truth, and always keep the conversation going.
Thanks for spending your time with us today.
See you next time.